Alright guys, this is a Snubby Society here. I'm making this video wanting to talk about a little bit that wave challenge that I put out a little while ago and kind of some of the discoveries I was hoping that you guys would make. A few of you did, a few haven't mentioned, and a lot went totally unspoken. So I wanted to just bring up a couple things. Scott Babb did a video about this some time ago. It's on YouTube. Something that I found only within the last year or so. So the things that I've been doing have been well outside what Scott has been using with his Libre system. I happen to adopt it to my own because I like the ways that it works. I'm going to go over some of those things. So one of the biggest things that he talks about just kind of up front is when using the Emerson wave here. This is an Emerson wave. You can also do a zip tie mod. I'm also going to talk about doing it on fixed blades as well while we're at it. But when using the Emerson wave, so a lot of people, I'll show you on here in this knife because it has a clip on it. So this is typically the right side of the knife when open traditionally. So typically in the US you have a lot of right hand tip up carry in the pocket. What Libre does when we have a quick deployment method is we'll throw it onto the side here, on the left side, pardon me, and we'll still put it in the exact same pocket. Part of that is so when you use it and you open it that way, I'm going to demonstrate with the trainer here, when you open it this way, let's say if you only get it over to here, the way that we draw is coming in like this so that we can still hook it on them, and then it's open fully. And if it does happen to collapse on us, we prefer it to be on the meaty part of the palm instead of on the finger. You definitely don't want that coming down anywhere within that range. No thank you. That's one of the biggest points he makes, and he goes over some technique which goes into some of these things. So because we're using that left hand side there, it allows us to draw towards the target instead of behind our center and then towards the target. So it also equals less wasted movement, and it's just easier to do under stress. I'll show you here what I mean by that. So say if this were the right hand side, right hand tip up, had it in the pocket. In order to draw it, typically we'll have to, I'll show you more from the side, go backwards and then forward before we can do anything. You can do it that way, or even doing ripcord. So let's say it was here. We still have to come behind our center and then move forward. Not ideal under stress, especially when you're in confined spaces. You're going to get yourself a lot more easily that way. I'm not saying will every time, but it's a lot more likely that's going to happen. On top of that, with the stress of trying to do a right hand tip up, I'll show you. I don't have it with the clip, but typically what it's going to do is, because it's usually going to be sitting right about there, so you're really only getting this much on there. Typically you want to be using these three to draw. Now you're all the way over here. Now you have to move your hand all the way up to fully grasp it and then start using. So on top of it being behind you, you now typically only have this much of a grasp, and you've got to do all of that without it coming out of your hand, without getting yourself. Now, on top of that, I'm about efficiency and not wasting movement. A lot of people say that and then they don't practice it. So with the clip on the left side, it allows us, instead of drawing forward, it allows us to draw towards them. You see? Significantly less time and movement. Versus, another thing is when you're trying to do it typically like this, if you do only have this, you're going to have to move all the fingers right here, not just some. You've got to move them all to get it open. So you're really holding it with your thumb right here. That is not a lot for stress. And now let's see if it's only partially open. Now I've got to go at them like that, and it doesn't flow as smoothly. There's a lot more additional movements and time involved. Definitely not something that I typically try to do myself. Also, when you're properly doing it in this left-hand method, you're also already using proper biomechanics, which are also going to translate to your other tools and other skills, i.e. properly throwing a punch. So just a few of the things that I wanted to kind of show for you guys here. I hope this helps. If anyone wants to keep adding to the wave challenge, you are welcome to. Just do hashtag wave challenge and then just tag me in it, post it up, and then I'll throw up my story and I throw it in a highlight for everyone who contributes, just so we can kind of see some of the different stuff we're doing. No, for fixed blades though, I wanted to mention this because some of you guys carry some of the different things with a pocket catch to kind of better translate, better understand why we're drawing forward with the folder. It's the same reason you draw with the fixed blade. With the fixed blade, you're not drawing backwards and then out. One, you're missing most of the time. Two, you're coming backwards. You're typically coming this way, and you're going forward. And if you're not, definitely worth checking out your draw stroke on these things. Turning it out sideways is more of an additional movement, puts you more out of line, requires you to have to come back into line. Something to think about.